Have you ever experienced that moment when something you were absolutely certain about suddenly feels like shifting sand beneath your feet? That's precisely what happens when twin flame doubt creeps in. That unsettling feeling when the person you once recognized as your divine counterpart suddenly feels like a stranger, or worse, like someone you've mistakenly identified as your cosmic match. The twin flame journey is often described as one of the most profound spiritual connections a person can experience in their lifetime. It's characterized by intense recognition, synchronicities that defy logical explanation, and a feeling of coming home when you're with this person. Yet paradoxically, this path is also marked by periods of profound doubt, confusion, and questioning that can shake your spiritual foundation to its core. Whether you're currently experiencing this uncertainty or have weathered similar storms in your twin flame journey, know that questioning the authenticity of your connection doesn't diminish its potential significance. In fact, these periods of doubt often serve as crucial catalysts for deeper self-examination and spiritual growth. They invite you to look beyond labels and external validation to discover what this connection is truly awakening within you. As we explore the mystery behind feeling disconnected from your supposed twin flame, we'll delve into the energetic, psychological, and spiritual dimensions of this experience. From the natural evolution of twin flame energy to the profound personal transformations that alter your perception, we'll illuminate the hidden purposes behind this challenging phase of the journey. Most importantly, we'll discover how these moments of questioning can actually strengthen your connection to yourself, to divine love, and ultimately to the authentic twin flame relationship that may be unfolding in ways you never expected. You know that feeling when you first met your twin flame? That overwhelming rush of energy that made you feel like you were simultaneously drowning and flying. The way your heart seemed to recognize theirs before your mind could catch up. Yeah, that intensity doesn't last forever. And thank goodness for that, because who could function while perpetually feeling like they're being struck by spiritual lightning? What's happening when that connection suddenly feels different isn't a sign that you've lost your twin flame, or that they were never your twin flame to begin with. It's actually a natural evolution of the energetic relationship between you two. Think of it like this. In the beginning of your twin flame journey, your energy was like a toddler who just discovered sugar for the first time, bouncing off the walls, completely uncontained, and flowing wildly toward your counterpart. This creates what many call the bubble love phase, where you feel constantly connected, constantly aware of them. It's intoxicating. It's also completely unsustainable. The feeling ebbs and flows as you grow into it. It's overwhelming at first because we are awakening. But after a while, it eases. You ease into it as it has been there the whole time, as one twin flame journeyer put it. You see, in those early stages, your astral energy was literally flowing out of your field and into theirs. This creates an illusion. You think you're feeling them, but what you're actually feeling is your own energy that's camping out in their field. It's like leaving your favorite sweater at someone's house and then being surprised when their place feels familiar and comfortable. Of course it does. Your stuff is there. As you progress spiritually, that energy gradually returns to your own field where it belongs. This isn't a loss, it's a recalibration. It's your energy coming home to you, which is actually healthier in the long run. Did you know that many spiritual teachers consider it energetically unhealthy to have your astral energy permanently residing in someone else's field, even if that someone is your twin flame? I didn't either until I went down this rabbit hole. But it makes sense, doesn't it? You need your energy to, function as a human being. The shift from feeling your twin's presence constantly to experiencing a more balanced energetic exchange is a natural evolution. It doesn't mean the connection is gone. It means it's maturing. It's like the difference between teenage infatuation, all-consuming, obsessive, slightly unhinged, and mature love, deep, steady, allowing space for individuality. Both are valid expressions of love, but one is more sustainable than the other. And let's be real for a moment. Would you really want to feel that initial intensity forever? Can you imagine trying to hold down a job, pay your bills, or remember to water your plants while perpetually feeling like you're being cosmically electrocuted by divine love? I don't know about you, but I need to be able to focus long enough to make a sandwich without dissolving into spiritual ecstasy. The truth is, as the connection matures, it transforms from that constant emotional intensity to something deeper, a knowing of oneness that doesn't require constant validation. It becomes less about the fireworks and more about the steady flame, less about the dramatic recognition and more about the quiet certainty. So if you're panicking because you no longer feel your twin flame in the same way, relax. This doesn't mean they're not your twin flame anymore. It means you're growing. It means your connection is evolving beyond that initial recognition phase into something more sustainable, more integrated, and ultimately more powerful. And honestly, that's something to celebrate, not fear. Because while the fireworks are spectacular, it's the steady flame that will light your way home. Have you ever looked at an old photograph of yourself and thought, who on earth is that person? We all change. It's the one constant in this wild ride called life. But when it comes to twin flame connections, this evolution takes on an almost mystical quality that can leave you questioning everything you once believed to be true. You see, as you undergo the profound personal transformation that is the cornerstone of any authentic twin flame journey, a perception of your connection naturally evolves too. Suddenly, you're seeing everything with enhanced clarity, noticing details that were always there but invisible to your previous version. The spiritual twin often advances first in consciousness. That might be you right now, reading this and wondering why your twin flame suddenly seems so different. It's not that they've changed, though they probably have. It's that you're viewing them through new eyes. What once seemed like perfect alignment may now appear as stark contrast when viewed through your evolving awareness. And that's exactly how it should be. Think of it like this. Imagine you've spent your whole life wearing slightly blurry glasses. You've gotten so used to the blur that you don't even notice it anymore. It's just how the world looks. Then one day, someone hands you a pair of crystal clear glasses. Suddenly, you can see every detail, every flaw, every beautiful imperfection. The world hasn't changed, but your perception of it has been completely transformed. That's what happens when you begin to awaken on the twin flame path. The real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes, as Marcel Proust so brilliantly put it. And boy, does the twin flame journey give you new eyes. Sometimes these eyes see things you'd rather not see, like the ways you and your twin are actually quite different, or the patterns that no longer serve either of you. I remember when my own perception began to shift. I had placed my twin flame on this impossibly high pedestal, convinced they were perfect in every way. As my consciousness expanded, I started to see the cracks in that idealized image. At first, I panicked. Oh no, I thought. I was wrong about everything. They're not who I thought they were. But that wasn't it at all. They were exactly who they'd always been. I just couldn't see them clearly before because I was projecting my own idealized version onto them. And you know what's really wild about this whole process? As you continue to evolve, your perception will keep changing. Just when you think you've got it all figured out, you'll level up again and see everything from yet another perspective. It's like spiritual whiplash sometimes. Just when you've adjusted to the new view, whoosh, here comes another shift. This is especially true when you enter what twin flame experts call the surrender phase. That's not just a fancy term for giving up. It's about surrendering your ego's need to control the narrative. And when that happens, when you truly let go of how you think things should be and accept them as they are, your perception undergoes a revolution. Rather than indicating a false connection, these perceived differences often reflect your growth beyond old patterns and limitations. You're not seeing less of your twin flame. You're seeing more of them, the full, complex, gloriously imperfect human being they actually are, rather than the idealized version your ego created. To be honest, this can be incredibly disorienting. You might find yourself thinking, if they're my twin flame, why do we seem so different now? But here's the beautiful paradox. As you both evolve, even if at different rates, you actually become more authentically yourselves. And authentic souls recognize each other beyond the superficial similarities that might have initially drawn you together. The evolution of perception in twin flame relationships reveals dimensions of the connection that weren't visible before. Maybe you initially connected over shared interests or similar worldviews, but as you evolve, you discover that your connection exists at a soul level that transcends those surface similarities. The spiritual resonance between you becomes more important than whether you both like the same music or share political views. So if you're currently in that space of wondering why your twin flame suddenly seems so different, take heart. It's not that the connection was false. It's that you're seeing more clearly now. And clarity, while sometimes uncomfortable, is always a gift. It's the universe saying you're ready for more truth now. You're ready to see beyond the veil. Embrace this evolution of perception. Let it show you new dimensions of yourself, your twin flame, and your connection. Because in the end, the twin flame journey isn't about finding someone who matches the image in your head. It's about discovering the infinite depths of a connection that transcends all images, all expectations, and all limitations. Have you ever been so certain about something that you'd bet your life savings on it, only to wake up one day and think, wait a minute, what if I've been wrong this whole time? That's the existential crisis many find themselves in when questioning whether their supposed twin flame is actually their twin flame. It's like spending years convinced you're allergic to strawberries, only to discover one day that it was the pesticides all along. Oops, let's get real. Not every intense spiritual connection that makes your heart do somersaults and your chakras spin like disco balls is a twin flame relationship. I know that's not what you wanted to hear. But honestly, would you rather live in a beautiful delusion or face a potentially uncomfortable truth? Don't answer that too quickly. You see, the spiritual marketplace is absolutely flooded with twin flame rhetoric. It's become the spiritual equivalent of slapping an organic label on food. Everyone's doing it, but not everything deserves the designation. The term has become so diluted that people are slapping the twin flame label on connections that are actually catalyst soulmates, karmic partners, or what some bluntly call false twins. It's like calling every fizzy beverage champagne when most of it is just sparkling wine from your local grocery store. Did you know that according to some spiritual traditions, many people don't even have their twin flame incarnated during their lifetime? Yet somehow, on social media, it seems like everyone and their grandmother has met their twin flame, usually right after a messy breakup when they're emotionally vulnerable. The thing about true twin flame connections is that they persist beyond initial attraction. They don't just fade away when the going gets tough or when the initial chemical cocktail of infatuation wears off. They continue to catalyze growth even through separation, especially through separation. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed, said Carl Jung. And while he wasn't specifically talking about twin flames, this quote perfectly encapsulates what happens in a genuine twin flame connection. The reaction doesn't just fizzle out after a few weeks or months. It fundamentally alters both people on a soul level. True twin flame connections involve not just romantic feelings, but profound spiritual awakening. They often include experiences like Kundalini activation, which, let me tell you, is not just some pleasant tingling up your spine. It's more like having your entire energetic system rewired while you're still using it. Many twin flame connections also trigger what mystics call the dark night of the soul, a period of profound spiritual depression and disorientation where everything you thought you knew about yourself and reality gets turned upside down. It's like being forced to watch as every belief you've ever held dear is systematically dismantled before your eyes. Not exactly the stuff of romantic comedies, is it? And here's where it gets tricky. These intense spiritual experiences can sometimes happen with other types of soul connections too. A catalyst soulmate can trigger a spiritual awakening. A karmikos partner kepes belerangatni asotet munkaba. The difference is in the purpose and duration of the connection. Karmic relationships are typically meant to resolve past life debts or learn specific lessons. Once that karma is balanced, the relationship naturally comes to an end. It's like taking a particularly challenging course in school. Once you've passed the final exam, there's no reason to keep taking the class. Catalyst soulmates come into your life to jumpstart your spiritual journey, but they're not necessarily meant to walk the entire path with you. They're like the friend who convinces you to sign up for a marathon and trains with you for the first few weeks. But ultimately, you run the race on your own. False twins, on the other hand, often mimic the intensity of a twin flame connection, but lack the spiritual dimension. They might trigger similar emotional responses and even synchronicities, but the connection doesn't lead to lasting spiritual transformation. It's like drinking decaf coffee. It looks and tastes similar to the real thing, but it doesn't give you that fundamental energy boost. So how can you tell the difference? Pay attention to what happens after the initial honeymoon phase. If your connection fades completely over time or lacks deeper spiritual dimensions, it may indeed be another type of soul relationship. And that's perfectly okay. Not every connection needs to be a twin flame relationship to be valuable. To be honest, sometimes I think we'd all be better off if the term twin flame had never entered the spiritual lexicon. The concept has created so much confusion and heartache for people desperately trying to categorize and validate their connections. I've seen people stay in toxic, abusive relationships because they were convinced the other person was their twin flame and that the abuse was just part of the runner-chaser dynamic. I've watched friends ignore glaring red flags because twin flames are supposed to trigger you. But here's the truth. A label doesn't define the value of your connection. Whether someone is your twin flame, soulmate, karmic partner, or none of the above, what matters is how the relationship serves your growth and happiness. Does it make you more whole? Does it challenge you to be better? Does it bring more love into your life? These questions matter far more than whether your connection checks all the boxes on some twin flame criteria list you found on the internet. And let's be real, even the experts can't agree on what exactly constitutes a twin flame relationship. Some say twin flames share the same soul. Others say they're complementary souls created at the same time. Some say you can only have one twin flame. Others suggest you can have multiple. Some say twin flames always end up together. Others say the purpose is spiritual growth, not necessarily union. With so many contradicting theories, isn't it possible that we're all just trying to make sense of deeply meaningful connections using the limited language and concepts available to us? Maybe the whole twin flame framework is just our human attempt to categorize something that defies categorization, like trying to explain the taste of an exotic fruit to someone who's never tried it. This realization isn't a failure, but a clarification that serves your authentic path. If you discover that your intense connection isn't a twin flame relationship after all, that doesn't mean you've failed or been deceived. it means you're gaining clarity about the true nature and purpose of your connection. And clarity, while sometimes uncomfortable, is always a gift. So perhaps instead of asking, "Is this person my twin flame?" a better question might be, "What is this connection teaching me about myself? How is it helping me grow? What purpose does it serve in my life?" Because ultimately, that's what matters. Not the label, but the transformation. And who knows? Maybe one day you'll look back and laugh at how desperately you tried to fit your connection into the twin flame box, when all along it was something equally valuable but entirely different. Or maybe you'll discover that it was a twin flame connection after all, just not in the way you initially understood it. Either way, the journey of discovery is yours alone. No one else can tell you with absolute certainty what your connection is or isn't. Trust your intuition, be honest with yourself, and remember that the most important relationship you'll ever have is the one with yourself. Everything else is just a beautiful, complicated bonus